I think this is a first for me, interviewing a guy that I've been doing video with before. If you go down the annals, the archives of Gamereactor TV, you will find Vic somewhere maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yes,
something.
It was a lifetime ago.
Well, you moved on up. I'm glad to see.
Well, yeah, Gamereactor is still wonderful. I don't know if it moves sideways, I would say.
That's a nice way of putting it. You're working at Might and Delight these days, a studio that sort of feels like a very warm place to work, if there's such a thing, like a caring, warm place. At least that's how I perceive you through your games. Perhaps best known for the Shelter games, and you're sort of spinning off the Shelter franchise, if you will, with the next game, Paws. Can you tell us what kind of game that is?
Yes, it's interesting that you mentioned warm and cuddly, because in a lot of ways the game that we're releasing, Paws, is exactly that. It's warm, it's cuddly. You play a very, very cute cub, lynx cub, and you have to try and find your way back to your family, basically. Yeah.
And supposedly the Shelter games has been a little bit more about sort of hunting and surviving and sort of in this sort of environment, but this is a little bit switched up now with sort of different gameplay.
I mean, the Shelter series is renowned for its strong themes. They look visually striking. I mean, they've resonated with a lot of people because of the design aesthetic. But the themes they've dealt with are hard-hitting. We're talking death. We're talking loss. You know, and this aims to carry on in that tradition. However, it still has that cute, wonderful feel to it, and I think it's a different perspective because for the first time you play as one of the cubs, which we had got a lot of requests, for. So it gives us a chance to introduce some new game mechanics, some new features to the games, and to be honest, we're excited to see what the reception to it will be like. Yeah.
You also talked about something that sort of comes like a companion to the game, something you call living books. Can you explain that? Because it's something that I'm sure people are curious about when they hear the concept. What is that, and what does it add to the experience?
Yeah, I mean, Paws in a lot of ways could be viewed as a game aimed for everyone, for different age groups. And we've always been keen on the concept of narrative. We've always been keen on the ways on how we can showcase games as more than just entertainment. So we've created a living book, I would say. It's essentially an interactive book, but it's one, that will be hopefully available on mobile platforms as well as PC, and is an expansion on the game itself, a standalone narrative that can be bought with the game or standalone. And visually it's the same style, but it's incorporating music, it's incorporating living interactive elements, and we hope it will be a good addition. Yeah.
It's very interesting, and we've been talking here before about sort of, because it feels like Might and Delight has been around for a long time. It sort of came about with this sort of demise of Grin, and some of those guys moved on to create Might and Delight. But it's a very peculiar studio. How would you describe Might and Delight as a studio and as an entity?
Might and Delight, as you know, rose from the ashes of what was Grin. Grin, I think, has been the birthplace of many, many studios, and Might and Delight is one of those. And I think one of its first titles, Spid, was a willingness to focus on an area that a lot of games don't focus specifically on, which is the visuals. It wasn't something we identified early, but over the years with Blue Flamingo, with the Shelter series, we've realized that is our core strength. And with that core strength and with that focus on the visuals, we wanted a style that was synonymous of who we are as a people. We're an art collective. We are creators who love to showcase something new and innovative. We don't always succeed, but we try. And I think that is the culture of the company. That resonates in everything that we do, from the games to the books, and hopefully to me as well. Hopefully.
And you're moving into publishing as well, which is it's kind of a crazy thing for a small indie studio to do.
It is, but I think it's important to understand what the concept of publishing is. You know, there are many different models out there, and models sounds like a very business term to use. Maybe because I oversee some of the business stuff, so you have to forgive me for that. But it's more. We know that there are a lot of studios, teams, games out with the same ideology of what we have, and it's a case of identifying them, bringing us all together, because as I said, we're a collective, and helping them get the support they need to release their games. You know, even if it's from simple distribution or we work together on projects, that is what's more fun and exciting for us. And so far, we are getting close to announcing something.
Sounds great. But you did make one mistake here when you gave me the pitch here before, because you got me excited about a game that you've canceled. And that's not the way to do it. But this game, Shiloh Cooper, which was a VR experiment that's now put on hold. But tell us a little bit about that decision and what kind of thing it was and why that was of interest to Might and Delight.
I mean, we were happy with it, you know, and you know, a lot of people will say, wow, you have a strong visual style. Anyone who's seen the Child of Cooper trailer will admit it's very striking, you know. But we know our place in the industry ecosystem. We are working in a very small niche part within a niche segment, you know, and so, you know, releasing something that is taking too long to complete that we're not 100% happy with is borderline silly, you know, and so we just thought, no, we will just call time on this, focus on our strengths for now, and who knows what might happen in the future. We're not saying never, we're not saying it will happen either. Yeah.
So I guess the only way to make that happen is thumbs up on YouTube or something like that.
Thumbs up, likes, subscribe to this page.
All right. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about your publishing plans, and we'll see Paws. When's Paws planned to come out?
March 24th on Steam and all very good retail outlets.
That's very soon. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.